We're starting out this walk at the Marble Hill houses, of which Marble Hill Garden is part. NYCHA operates about 670 of such community gardens, and if every New York City housing complex had a community garden, if we aggregate this, we could grow quite a bit of food here.
This is part of the old and the new Croton waterway, and there are two other main arteries that serve New York City. One is the Delaware and one is the Catskill. It supplies 550 gallons a day if needed, and this is the smallest of the three. So this actually just gives 10% of what is needed in the entire system.
When Cortlandt Park is bigger than Central Park, it's bigger than Prospect Park. It is over 1,100 acres large.
We thought we would just share the objects that if anybody collected objects on the way.
I love the foliage of fall. And the reason why I pick natural things is because I'm all about something that helps the earth, that's able to decompose and not contaminate it.
I had proposed making these kiosks into the past. So basically you take like an electrical transfer box and you put a fish tank in there. That would be basically show you what animals would have lived here. You could even do a terrarium, you know.
White snakeroot, it's Adriatina altissima. It's a nice woodland plant, but actually one of the few native ones that we've seen, or that we've passed.
In the yard of this church is the oldest, largest tree in the Bronx. It's called the sister tree, and it's a big sycamore tree. And I'm wondering if it's still there.
If you see one fruit, a single fruit, it should be a sycamore then, and if you have two fruits, like a cherry, basically if you have two coming down together, then it's a London plane.
Well, I think this must be the sister tree. I wonder how old it really is.
I want you to listen. We're on the corner of Central Park West and 81st. When you hear a honk, it is generally the impatience of a driver behind a driver who hasn't moved fast enough. So if the cars are parked, and if you're the first car, rest assured you're going to get a honk.
What are some of the different things that you hear?
People chatting on their cell phone.
Water. From the fountain. The plaza. And what kind of things were you hearing on the corner on Central Park West and 81st?
Honking.
Buses. Subway.
So just not that far, there's a tremendous difference.
Grow NYC does work with community gardens throughout the city. We help them in terms of getting the plants for them, in terms of the dirt. So if you go to Grow NYC website, besides noise, but you've learned so much more about what the city does.
What do we mean by public space when we say public space? And whose city is it? But also try to get it to think about New York with its past and its present and its future. And the way public space has always figured in trying to define what kind of city are we living in and what kind of city do we want to be and what kind of city do we want to become.
These areas along the park, Central Park West, one of the richest areas in the cities. When we talk about public space, it's not just whether a space is open to individuals, it's who it is accessible to.
Here is Trinity School, which is, how much is for preschool? $45,000? Right here, it seems like a perfect model for inequality, that there's a public school there and there's Trinity School here, and they're worlds apart.
Just in Riverside Park, you can see Homestead building this park, Moses adding on to the park. You look at those two individuals and you look at who is invited to be part of the public that we create this space for.